My mother used to tell me about the ocean. She said there was a place where there was nothing but water as far as you could see, and that it was always moving, rushing towards you and then away. There are times when I stand and look out into the wilderness and imagine a place of nothing but water. Close my eyes and listen to the wind in the trees and imagine a world of nothing but water closing in over my head. It would be a world without the unconsecrated, a world without the forest of hands and teeth. In towns protected by metal fences, citizens watch as the horrors of the zombie apocalypse fall around them. Mary, who has lost her father to the ranks of the undead, is left alone with only her mother in The Forest of Hands and Teeth by Carrie Ryan. Often my mother stands next to me and waits to see if her husband will come home to her. I gave up on my father months ago, and now I fear coming to the edge of the forest. I'm afraid I'll see him there. Tattered clothes, sagging skin, the horrible, pleading moan, and the fingers scraped rough from pulling at metal fences. People in our village have gone mad from seeing their loved ones as unconsecrated. It was a woman, a mother, horrified at the sight of her son infected, who set herself on fire and burned half of our town. I fear this is what my mother will become, so I watch her closely now. And then, one day, my friend Harry catches up with me while I'm at the stream. He's one of the few in the village my age, and we sit and watch the water flow over the rocks. "How is your mother?" he asks. He's nothing if not polite. I duck my head and wash my hands in the water. I know I should be getting back to her. I've already taken too much time for myself today. "She's still holding out hope," I answer. His hands seek out and cover mine. I've known this was coming for months. I've seen the way he looks at me now. His eyes have changed. We are no longer children and haven't been for many years. He smiles and drops his head toward me. And then, before his lips land on mine, we hear it. The siren. Harry's eyes meet mine, his face now a breath away. I stand. Every inch of my skin tingles, and all I can think is, "Mother!" All my life I've been trained by this siren. Before I could walk, I knew the siren meant death. Grab weapons, find a safe place, even if it necessitated leaving the living behind. The closer to the edge of the village I get, the more slowly I move. All around me is chaos. Mothers dragging children. The implements of daily life scattered in the dirt and grass. And then the siren cuts out. Silence. Everyone freezes. And I see a small group of people dragging someone toward the cathedral. Mother. Everything inside of me falls at once because somehow I know. I just know that I shouldn't have lingered at the stream. My back is straight and my face composed as I walk toward the entrance. My neighbors step aside as they see me draw near, but no one will look me in the eyes. Inside, the light is dim, and I see the sisters surrounding a woman who is keening and moaning, but not unconsecrated. My mother knew to never get too close. And I know that it had to have been my father that she saw. I close my eyes as the one stamped pain of losing him slashes through me. I should have been with her. I want to hide from everything that's happened, but instead I go to my mother and put my head on her legs. I could boil my life down to its essence, it would be this. My head in my mother's lap, her hands in my hair, she tells me stories. Now her hands are sticky, and I know that they are covered with blood. I shut my eyes so that I do not have to know the extent of the damage. Her hands run through my hair. She's saying something so low under her breath that I cannot understand her. She's infected. I know this. They will imprison her until she turns, and then they will push her through the fence and out into the forest. The guardians keep the infected in a kind of purgatory between the living and the unconsecrated. This is where my mother is now, and I sit nearby, listening to her pop her jaw and clack her teeth like a cat lusting after a bird. She's too sick to talk now, too ravaged to even understand. A rope is tied around her ankle, and she picks absently at its frayed ends. We are all waiting for the inevitable. I'm waiting for my mother to die. Time becomes nothing to me but a march toward my mother's return. I wish it were a solid thing. Something I could grab and shake and stop. But instead it slips away from me. I stare at the fence and blur my eyes, throwing my surroundings out of focus. The fence does not exist when I do this. It's as if we're all one world. The ocean, have take to the ocean, marry the ocean. Sharp as a crack, my mother whips her head around, and I see that her eyes are unfocused but lucid. She crawls toward me until I see that her hands are linked through the fence. The ocean, Mary, the ocean. I have to get to the ocean, Mary, the ocean, Mary. She speaks so urgently now, her mouth moving rapidly. So beautiful, the ocean, Mary, the ocean, Mary, the ocean! Her eyes become bright with unshed tears. The water, the waves, the sand, the salt, the water, the waves, the sand, the salt. It consumes me. She reaches one finger through the wire and strokes my wrist. My little girl, don't forget. My little girl. My little girl. Tears slip out of her eyes, and then my mother slips to the ground, her fingers falling away from mine. In the moment between my mother's death and her return, I stop believing in God.